Greetings, everybody. It is I, Zanin, and welcome back to Zanycraft. This should be the beginning, the start of part 2 of what I would like to start showing off for uh, the next part of the Zanycraft series. So, there's one major thing I want to show off. It took me a lot of trial and error to get this working, but this is the Orb of Wind. I couldn't figure out how to get a functioning double spacebar creative mode flying capability with the Orb of Wind, but I figured out an alternative modded coded system for the Orb of Wind to grant flying. If you hold down right click, it allows you to shoot forwards in a direction. And then if you let go of right click and allow yourself to fall, it overrides fall damage. And I don't think it works but unless if you do the right click to do that. So if you take fall damage with the orb in your inventory, I think you should take fall damage. I'm not too sure. Let me check. Yeah, you take fall damage. So only while you're using the orb to fly around by holding down right click does it override fall damage. And then once you land and fall, it resets on its own naturally and does that. So there you go. So now I have a coded functional means of using the orb. You have to actively right click with the orb using it to fly around. So there is that to note. So I tried getting the dash fly procedure to work in the game, but it was, sorry, the potion brewing stand did that there very fast. But yeah, there was a bug. It's very buggy. The fly procedure in mcreator is very bugged out. I tried using it in all instances I possibly could, and it just does not want to function properly or work the way that it simply just should. So I had to do a creative method of flying and did XYZ based off the way that you're looking with your way that you're facing viewing, and then every time you hold down right click or press right click, it overrides your motion vector and sends you forwards the way that you're looking. Whoop, into the pillar there. And then it overrides fall damage, protecting you the first initial time that you land and hit on the ground. So yeah, there we go. That's the first major initial thing I want to show off. So I'll just wrap this up here and I'll get a collection of other potential things to record and edit and stitch together. So there's a few other things I want to show off here. So let me just wrap things up here and figure that out. Alright, I'm back and I set up a nice little pile of snow here. In one of my many previous attempts of doing a little bit of recording for getting the part 1 figured out for the start of the Zanycraft series, one of the worlds I was in was a snowy biome world. And I, on a whim, this I already existed in the previous stuff, I just forgot about it and I needed to showcase it. This right here is a method of being able to punch snow piles, and it gives you a snowball. And also, if you decide to dig up the snow piles like this, and craft one in your inventory, I can craft several here, you can craft snow piles. And then, of course, you can stack snow piles on top of each other, like that. Probably should have done a few of the other ones, but that's fine there. So, yeah, there you go. And then if it's multiple instances in one, it's just going to override to just one block, and then that's about it. And then you can make a full snow block, I think, if you get enough snow pile pieces together. But yeah, in any case, that's a cool little thing that I added, was the ability to take snow tiles that fall on the ground, punch it with your bare fist, and now they drop snowballs, and then you can start throwing them at people if you want to. And if you want to, you can make snow tiles, and then you can plop snow tiles down to like form little like snow forts around you, if that's something that you would like to do, play in the snow. So I think that'd be pretty nice and pretty cool to do. Just allow players to play with snow some more with these small modifications for Zanycraft. So yeah, that's that. Alright, I am back with another new addition to the mod. So, I have inspiration from a few videos. Those civilization videos that you see on YouTube, especially Ish's video, and then there was another one where there was a hot desert in a frozen wasteland. Basically, what I want to implement is a system that adds flesh to the game. So, whenever a player dies, as so, all of a sudden they drop anywhere between 1 and 3 pieces of flesh. This case, it dropped 2. And right now you can eat it as is. I have full hunger because it just died, but you're able to eat it when you have hunger. I might change that setting later with me revamping the hunger food system in the future later on. There's plans to potentially do that. But in any case, currently it just gives you hunger. In the future, I'll probably change it to where it gives you like nausea and sickness and gives you hunger instead of like restoring your hunger. But right now, it just restores hunger. And I probably will sit down to find a cooked version of making this as well too. So, but yeah, that's it's a little dark and a little twisted. But I'm taking inspiration from the idea of like I want to add in flesh for there to be the way to make flesh golems for a necromancer sometime in the future. So, and I want to also at some point in the future apply the ability for flesh to drop from villagers and from other humanoid looking NPCs because there's rotten flesh from zombies in the game. So if we add in regular just a regular type of flesh into the game that's fresh, then that could be like a whole like system that could be used and implemented for necromancy and also for very messed up cannibalism systems for people who are starving in potential situations. So, and the main idea that I got the inspiration from was from like there was these civilizations that were starving in from the poor island. There were people dying from starvation. So if the poor island from like the issues from Ish's video, uh, if they were to have the ability to like kill a player for them to get like the food, there could have been like the poor island going through cannibalization and killing of their own people to be in order to survive, and that could cause like a whole chain reaction of like cause and effect systems that would just cause things to be very tense and strain relations, and it'll be just very bizarre. So that's something that I was thinking about potentially doing is to implement this flesh system and be able to have a means for players to hunt down each other and to potentially kill and cook each other. Because that, as messed up as that is, that's like a really like crazy but fantastical kind of take on a survival situation. And then people can throw away like the flesh too if they have like high standards of like we're not gonna like take this substance from these people, and they could like instead put it into chest, and maybe I could actually make bones drop too from players too. Have the vanilla bones be dropped or even modded bones. I could probably do that as well. But yeah, it's just there being a method and a system and a way of taking substance and materials of like the natural body and have it drop and have that be acquirable, and then that could be a very messed up means of a way for somebody to prevent themselves from starving to death if they want to swoop so low as to betraying other living humanoid creatures and things and taking them down for them to feed themselves, take one life away to sustain your own or another. Or yeah, it's it's pretty dark, it's pretty crazy, it's pretty messed up, but it's just like I think it'll be like a really cool dynamic system to apply to Zanycraft because if I want to one day sit down and make a big video with loads of people, with like 100 people or 150 people or 200 people or 250 people or 300 or 500 or 1,000 people or something like that, then I want to have like these crazy cool mechanics, big and small, to have an effect and impact on the game and cause people to do choices and be able to do whatever things along with that. So it'll be interesting to see what plays out and what happens, and then see like people's reactions to like certain types of groups of people who have done things like that. And maybe I could implement like a madness system as well too. Like maybe there could be something that happens to the players that do end up eating such substances. So that's pretty messed up and crazy for what it is, but I coded it into the game. And the big thing is, I want to look into at some point adding in like necromancy and a lichdom potion, and I want to sit down and add in custom creatures like a unicorn, and then you need to get like a unicorn's blood, and then face biters that can like warp and teleport around, and like have those exist in like certain like dimensions or certain areas or regions or wherever they might be able to exist somewhere in the game, and other kinds of components, and have there be like some sort of rare spawning book, book to how to obtain lichdom, and then I can write down information in that book to be able to explain the process of how to obtain that very difficult, very risky, deadly, dangerous process to become a lich and like build a phylactery and be able to absorb and eat and obtain souls and unlock loads of powers and special abilities and whatnot for your time of unlife, of undeath. So that this stuff, the flesh could be tied into making flesh golems, and I could definitely tie it into as a drop for villagers at some point in the future soon. And yeah, but yeah, that's a pretty crazy but cool kind of small system to add right now. This is flesh stuff. So yeah, there's that there. Greetings, I am back. Alright, so I have modded the next little few bits of elements into the game. So we're going to go off into the cell over here. It's currently empty right now. We're going to grab these horse spawn eggs, villager spawn eggs, and this admin sword. We're going to hop in here, and we're going to spawn in a horse. So I have now coded in the means so that whenever you slay a horse, it drops anywhere between 1 and I think 5 pieces of raw horse meat. Jesus, that horse scream was just dreadful. So that time dropped 1. This one also just dropped 1. Let me just test to see if it works. This one also dropped 1. Might have to recheck the command here. This one also dropped 1. It's just spawning 1 every single time right now. All right, let me try another one. Hold on. It also dropped 1. There we go. It dropped 3 that time. See, I don't know why it was taking so long for the drop into so many. Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that. But in any case, it was dropping 1 every single time, and then that time it dropped 3. So now the next thing to do is the villagers. Well, first things first, that we put the flesh into here, the horse meat. It should automatically begin cooking. And there's also an automatic stick feeder to this, and there's an automatic horse feeder for raw meat into this as well. And then this automatically should cook horse meat into cooked horse meat. And also, I'm making it modded so that way meat and other foods in the game don't stack, because I'm also planning on implementing a poison feature to the game, and for me to implement poison in the food, I need to be able to make the food a single stack item so we can modify it to be a duplicate for texture and name, but has completely different properties coded into it. I couldn't do it with multiple stacks or anything like that, but that's the case. But yeah, so we now have a means to find horses in the world and to slay them, and for them to drop food, raw horse meat. Now, the next thing, villagers. This has just been coded in along with the horse meat stuff. If we take villagers, which they're just gonna run outside of the chamber, of course. Oh, and you're a cleric now because there's a potion stand. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do this, teammate, but oop. It will give a chance to drop between 1 and 3 pieces of flesh. So before, it was just humans, just players, that whenever I die from like fall damage is the current way that I can only die from right now, because I'm immune to like all other damage with the current settings. I had to yet to make the modded health bar and everything. But in any case, whenever I die as a player, I drop anywhere between 1 and 3 pieces of flesh. Now, whenever a villager is killed, they also drop anywhere between 1 to 3 pieces of flesh. So that way, in the future, when I start developing necromancy magics for Zanycraft, and you need to get the your hands on like flesh or like raw meat or whatever to make like various undead like flesh golem creatures or undead creatures of the like or sorts, which will likely use just bone, just flesh, or a mix of flesh and bone or something like that, plus the soul magic and dark magic and whatever potential other magic there could be, then you'll have a resource to use that to do so. Also, because I took inspiration from some civilization events, and there were some people starving from being in a frozen wasteland and being in a hot desert, basically both barren wastelands of little to no resources for food. I have also made it now possible to take flesh, and it should work here. Hold on, if I put it up here, yeah, there we go. Okay, I have to put it on the top slot here. I'm now made it possible to make flesh, to be smeltable, and it should be smelting and cooking. Oh, I know why it's not working. I forgot to change the code in the source for what it is. Hold on, at the transition, let me fix that. Phew. All right, I'm back, and now the furnace is working. So now I just enabled the code. It was I duplicated the horse meat code, and I forgot to change the setting to change the meat from horse meat to flesh. So yeah, this is kind of morbid. I know, because you can kill villagers and or players, and then take their body and then cook them up and then eat them, or just eat it raw, whichever one. Or which I have coded it to where if where you should eat raw meat, it should make you nauseous and sick, and if you cook meat, you should be fine. But yeah, I know it's a little twisted and dark and fucked up with the whole flesh system, but at the same time, it's just my main inspiration was from like the civilization event videos. There was like many of them made by many content creators, and a few of them had like people, oh, they're gonna role play cannibalizing and attacking other players, but then they don't actually drop any substance or any resource. So in Zanycraft, if I ever get to like 100 player event, or a 200 or 250 or 300 or 500 or 1,000, if I ever get to that point, if I ever get to a point where I have a major player event over the course of like a weekend or a week or a few days or whatever it's going to be, uh, for doing an event and having the server open for like however many hours for a day for a session to be played, then I want there to be a means for players to run around and be like, oh, we're starving, or like, oh, we're having a hard time finding food, if they're like forced to be in a custom island map where it's like unfrozen ice tundra or a blaring hot blazing desert. Then they can resort to the potentiality of uh, cannibalizing each other, which is again dark, twisted, and fucked up. But I think it's pretty funny to some extent, and it's a game, and it's for simulating whatever like ridiculous gameplay system things. So there's that exists now. And in the future, I will be looking into necromancy magic and the ability to take flesh and to take bone and to potentially make your own zombies, or to take just bones and make your own skeletons, and the like that. So there will be a development further on the resources here to create those things. So yeah. Let me think here. Is there anything else? I think that's everything for this demonstration stuff. Horse meat, flesh gets expanded upon, and yeah, I think that's everything for this little update here. So, all right. All right, I'm back. I have more modded elements created for Zanycraft. So, there was a bug with the scrolls. I fixed the bugs for the scrolls. So basically, if you right-click the scroll back before, it consumed two for some reason. I figured out what the issue was, and now it only consumes one. So if I right-click to use the Void Dimension scroll, we warp to the void, and I get only one soul scroll consumed from my stack, which I might change this 64 stack to 16, because 64 seems like a lot, and 16 seems like enough to bundle some scrolls together. Maybe even 8, so either 8 or 16. But for now, it's going to stay at 64. And then if we warp back to a world, it also consumes just one. So there we go. I got the scrolls working. Now, there's an issue with warping back and forth between dimensions. You can spawn anywhere up in the air or down in the earth and the ground below. I haven't solved the earth ground below part. You're just going to have to break the blocks around you as fast as you can when you spawn in them, and make sure you have a pickaxe of high efficiency, and make sure that you're okay. So there's that. But besides that, the other issue was spawning in the air in the void. So right now, if I were to use the the void scroll that I have in my hand right now, I would be falling through the void. So there's a method to try to counteract this. So here's how we do this. What we're going to do is that we're going to take awkward potions. You can have a splash or lingering or regular drinkable bottle. And if you put one piece of iridescent in it, it should allow yourself to craft and create slow fall potions, which I have a few of them made right here, right now. So basically, there's also another little thing I need to mention. Phantoms do not spawn. So that means after 3 days of being awake in the game, phantoms will not spawn. The potion is done. I just heard the glug sound effect. But yeah, the phantoms do not spawn, which if you kill phantoms and collect their membranes, you can use the membranes to create slow fall potions. So, here's the thing. They don't spawn anymore. I disabled that as a default setting within the game, within the mod. So now, what do? Well, you take air dust and you craft slow fall potions. So yeah, there we go. There's that. So now, with the use of using slowfall potions, which you may or may not need to use, but I highly recommend and suggest using it and doing so because it'll probably help your likelihood and chances of surviving and not dying from taking fall damage. Here's what we're gonna need next. I created something called the sky block. So here's how you craft it. You take stone, you craft stone into slabs, then you grab the slabs and you stack the slabs on top of each other, and it creates chiseled stone bricks. So you grab as many chiseled stone bricks as you possibly can from whatever amount of resources you have, and then you take as much air shards and air dust as you can, and you put in this pattern. Along the edges of the block, the left, right, up, and down, you put air shards, and then in the four corners of the block, you put air dust, and it creates something called the sky block. So then you craft all as many of those as you possibly can, and there we go. We now have. Oh, sorry, pressing F5. I'll do it all very fast. In any case, trying to keep the flow going. So now you have something called sky blocks. So now, if we go up here, and I believe the last few times it was like bugged and I had to fix it and I had to redo this recording a few times, but I got it working now fully. So this is the first one-time smooth okay one. So I'm doing good right now. So now when you fall off a tall ledge and right-click, it spawns a block 3 blocks underneath you. So you have a 1 block of space of falling room, and I would have taken some falling damage right here, but not too much. So you don't need the slow fall potion when you're using this block. But if you're loading between one dimension and another, you're gonna want to have slow fall because it might take you a second to load into the world, and you want to have the slow fall potion effect when you get transferred over. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna drink a slow fall potion, and then we're gonna use the void dimension warp scroll, and then we spawned inside of the dimension. And then what we're gonna do is right click with the sky block, and then boom. Now we take these coordinates, we press F3, and we got to make sure you either do this before or afterwards, whichever one you want to do in whichever direction. Take your exact XYZ location. So mine's 168 by 96 by negative 746. And then you right click to the overall dimension warp scroll. Make sure you have one of these on you to get back. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in the dimension. And then boom, you're here. And then you press F3. And then you try to remember what the coordinates were. Make sure you had them written down somewhere. And then you just take a few blocks, build underneath you to whatever height it is, and then you're able to warp back and forth. So warp back. I built 1 block too high, so go here. And then we go on back, break that block, and then build the platform right here. But I already have one made over here. So yeah. Also, let me just go back here and destroy the sky block and warp back. But yeah, there you go. So now there is a built-in game play mode means of warping between dimensions, and if you manage to make yourself some slow falling potions, or even find other methods, like if there's abilities to like fly with other potential modded stuff, or even levitate up into the air, either or could like work, whatever you find that can like function, just anything that can help you not take fall damage to just slow your descent to fall to be able to have time to place down the sky block and catch yourself in the air, and then have the ability to warp back and forth between the two locations, and then bring resources back and forth, then yeah, you can sit down and do that. So there you go. That's all the information for that little showcase there. I just got an idea. Maybe sometime in the future I can get like a teleportation portal, so you can get like portal frame things, and then when you step into the portal, it warps you there. So there could be like a permanent portal thing, and then maybe there could be like a runic system to where you can do a runic circle, and then once you do a runic circle, it will spawn like a warp portal in some sort of destination here, and then maybe it can warp you back and forth with the permanent circle, or maybe when you turn it on or turn it off, if there was to activate and deactivate. So either make like a permanent teleportation circle or a teleportation circle that could be turned on and off with like some configurations, or you could just use the warp scroll and find a key location to mark it, and then go back and forth between the two. So there could be some potential future ideas and inspiration and potential concepts to get multiple types of teleportation between one dimension and another, and allow a connected pathway between the two. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, and I'll leave it there. And if there's more stuff to show off, I'll show it off. If that's it for the video, I can leave it off there. I'll figure it out as I go. I'll figure that out. So there might be more. I'm gonna wrap it up here. We'll see. All right. There's something else I want to show off for the video here for part two. I forgot to share this in the first part one video, like I did with a few other things here. There is a Zanycraft resource pack that is going to be required to download when you play my Zanycraft mod. So if we press escape, go to options, go to resource packs, there's something here with the orb, the astral orb, Zanycraft resource pack, and there's a version like 0.7 or something that I have right now. So if we put that over here and we click done, you will notice and realize and see that we have no more health bar and no more hunger bar. Also, if we do dash give dev an iron helmet and we put it on, you'll also notice and realize that there's no armor bar. And there's also one more thing. If we get like a pit here and we give ourselves a water bucket, dash give Minecraft water bucket, and if we get a nice little pit here, so here, let's go into creative mode real quick here and do this, and then fill this out. There we go, and then go here back into survival mode, and if we jump on in, so we're in survival mode right now because I went back to creative mode, back to survival. So it's a little hard to tell because going back and forth, but you can tell with the XP bar. You will also notice that I have, in addition to having no armor, I also have no oxygen. And then after a little bit of time, I'll start taking damage. But of course, if I go to options, go to resource packs, and disable this, I made a setting that pretty much makes your vanilla HP immune to all damage. So that's something right there. All right. So what is this? What is this resource pack trying to do? Why did I do that? So I removed the health bar, the armor bar, the hunger bar, and the oxygen bar. I removed all these bars because I'm going to redesign and recreate them for Zanycraft. I'm going in the upper left-hand corner of the screen in the future, in the near future. What I plan on doing is adding in a level counter that can keep track of your level. And I'll either do custom text, or it could be like built-in number text potentially, which might be the case. I'm not too sure. But if I can make custom number text, I'll look into possibly doing that as well. And you're either going to start at level 0 or level 1, whichever one of the two. And then basically from level 1 or 0, it's going to count up to however many levels there's going to be. And then there's also going to be a health bar. There's going to be a stamina bar. There's going to be a mana bar. and the entire HP system is going to be revamped because in vanilla Minecraft, the max amount of HP that you're allowed to have is like 1,000 points of health, and I want to get to a point to where you could potentially get like 2 or 3 thousand, maybe 4 or 5 thousand HP points. So I need to make a custom variable built into mcreator that gets you more HP than what the vanilla game allows. So that's why I'm going to be converting natural damage into modded damage whenever damage is taken. So I'm going to have to sit down and figure out the code for that. In addition to figuring out this, there's going to be the new hunger system. I'm going to replace the Minecraft hunger bar. I'm going to make it be filled all the time as well. So I'll get some code designed for that, and I'll have my own custom hunger point counter. And here's the thing. So basically, it's just like there's also I plan on revamping the HP because need more HP for leveling up the character. I plan on redoing the hunger bar system because uh it's just there. I just need to get a different display because I don't want to have like a vanilla bar at the bottom of the screen. So I just need to redo the counter and redisplay it, and then I could potentially do like a different like hunger system where like, oh, you can hold more of an appetite if you level up your character. So maybe I could do that as well too, potentially. But I'm not too like keen on developing too much into that one. Same thing we're doing the oxygen bar. I got to make that a single icon and then do like a number point counter that goes up and down that can have so on the left side of the screen, right side of the screen, top of the screen, wherever that counter is going to be. I'm going to redo the oxygen bar to be like that. And then what I'm going to do for the armor point system, this is a big one. I'm going to completely revamp and redo how armor points work in the game. So because vanilla HP is affected by vanilla armor, the modded HP will be affected by the modded armor point system. And vanilla armor is like point 0.1 point, it's like 1.3 variable, like this, that, and some complex ratio, and it kind of maxes out and doesn't matter once it gets to a certain state, and it's just like it's just an annoying, just not ideal kind of system for protecting the player. With our, I mean, it works. It does what it's designed and set out to do. But here's how I imagine a armor point system work. Basically, if you have like an iron helmet, let's say it protects 10 points of damage, and you have an iron sword, and this iron sword deals 80 or 90, or let's just simplify it to 100 points of damage. So if you swing an iron sword against a person's body, well, who has an iron helmet, it will reduce that damage by 10 points. So thus, you would take the total damage number of what you swing with your weapon, with your blade, and then you subtract the amount of points that your armor protects by, and then you get the result of 90 points of damage, and let's say you have 100 HP. So that's just wearing one helmet, and that's just like that ratio there. So then if you wear a full suit of armor, so let's say a chest plate gives you like 30, a helmet gives you 10, boots give you 10, and leggings give you 20, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 70 points of damage reduced from a sword that deals 100 points of damage. So that equals 30 points of damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you have 100 HP and you're at like level 0 or whatever it is, 0, 1, where you're at like the default like setting of like having 100 HP, which is what I plan on doing for my game. Instead of having players being at like 10 HP, I want them to be at 100 because I want scales and ratios to be like that amount. That's what I'm thinking. It could be 10 actually. I scale up by 1 point and I do things differently. I might do that. I don't know. And things aren't set in stone yet. But in any case, you get the point. You get the idea. So you can reduce the amount of damage that you take in by through this example, through this thought experiment idea, by 70 points, and then you take 30 points of damage, and then if you have 100 HP, that's 4 hits to kill you. So yeah, there's that. Also, there is a cooldown to weapons, like you can attack early and do like less damage or something. I have also thought about potentially doing an idea to maybe sit down and make weapons that have a cooldown attack, and I'm gonna see if there's a way to like prevent swinging, the swinging of your sword. If I can like cancel the event of swinging your sword, or prevent the register of like swinging a weapon if it's still in cooldown. I don't know if that's possible or not. I'm gonna experiment to see if that's the case, but if not, then I probably won't mess with it. But if so, then I'll definitely look into doing that. I'll definitely look into probably doing cooldowns for range weapons because that'll give it like some semblance of balancing, so that we don't just spam certain magics unless if it's like a very weak magic that you can spam. Then there's an exception to that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think here. That's the one major thing I wanted to show was the resource pack that got rid of the armor, health, hunger, and oxygen. So now, the next thing for me to sit down and mod and do for Zanycraft is to get a custom level up bar counter, an HP bar counter, a stamina bar counter, a mana bar counter, and I also need to do a hunger counter and a thirst counter, and then yeah, that's pretty much like a semblance of like everything. And maybe I might do I know stamina is like a form of energy, but maybe there could also be like an energy counter to where like every so often you have to like let your character rest and sleep. Maybe I might do. I don't know. And there's also like an idea to where you can like maybe potentially increase the rate or slow down the rate of the sun. So I don't know if that's actually possible for me to do or not with them creating the modifications. I would imagine it should be so, like a way to increase the tick rate and slow down the tick rate. I'll have to do some research and see what I can figure out and do for that. Because if I can like change the amount of time a day-night cycle lasts, that'd be pretty interesting and that'd be pretty cool. I think if I could figure that out. So, but in any case, that is that. So I think that's everything for this little explanation of stuff. I can go and take off the helmet now. I can put all this stuff away. There we go, into here. I'm collecting all sorts of stuff in the course of time of me working on this modification and decorating the place and changing it up. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty cool to see the place slowly transform as I do this mod showcase for everything. So. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. That's that for that. I just wanted to show the resource pack that I'm working on to change the textures in the game to delete the hunger and the health and the armor and the oxygen, and then I'm gonna be remaking all the counters plus adding a few more in the future. So there's that. All right, I have another modification that I just created for Zanycraft. So if we go over here, this is a cell. Oh, I forgot to enable this. I need that. This currently doesn't work right now. So, but I'll show you off the rest of the cell. So right here in this room, it's a cell. And typically Minecraft, you're able to punch a block for like a minute and you're able to break out. I have coded it so that way when you punch the floor, you get mining fatigue, and it cancels your ability to break the block. You get mining fatigue 3. There we go. And if you punch the wall, you also get mining fatigue 3. And I didn't do this for the bars by accident. So as you can see here, I'm punching the bars, and in the course of time, I'll be able to break out. So what we're going to do is that we're going to stop that. I'm going to reset the recording. Give me a second here. I'm going to add the iron bars as an additional feature that you can't break. Oh, and the iron door. Because you can punch and break that too. So give me a sec. I'm going to do both of these. Give me a moment. And yeah. All right, I'm back. I did the edit modification. So I can't close the door from here, but if I try punching the door of the bar, let's do the bars first. It should be working. Okay, what if I try the door? This also should be working. What if I try the bricks? Oh, I disabled everything now. Whoops. I'm gonna sit down and see what the issue is. I think I accidentally made one thing one setting and one thing another. So let me try to sit down and fix it. Give me a moment here. All right, it should be fixed now. Hopefully, let's test the bars. There we go. We get mining fatigue for 3 seconds, cancels the block breaking event, and resets everything. Do with the brick walls. Yep, it works with that there. Works with the floor. Yep, it works with that there. And it works with the door. Yep, it works with that there. So now, in Zanycraft, I have coded it so that stone blocks, brick blocks, iron blocks and iron doors cannot be broken by your bare hand. But if you have a pickaxe and you're able to mine the blocks, you're able to mine it with a pickaxe, the stone bricks, the iron bars, the iron door, and the stone floor. But it doesn't work on cobblestone. So I could probably code that in next, actually, so making cobblestone a more refined material. Or maybe I can make it easily breakable and leave it like that, maybe. I don't know. Maybe make it seem like a weaker material. Or maybe keep it as strong, potentially. Not too sure. But yeah, let me just fix this up real quick. Repair that. Repair that. Repair this. And yeah, there we go. We also have a random piece of stone in this chest right here that I can use to break that and fix it. There we go. That's nice. There we go. All right, so those are the few basic blocks that are enabled to be unbreakable in the future. I can definitely add in as many blocks that are specifically tied to pickaxes that can be made unbreakable. So I have a simple procedure command in mcreator set up at the ready to go. So if I just want to add any more blocks to it, like every single stair variant available made of stone, or every single like block type like variable, or like every single like whatever, just whatever it is, I can sit down and code it in. So it's like, oh, I want to add more decorations. I want like stone brick walls to be added, so that way I can add like pretty decorations with stone brick walls. And I want to add in like stairs and slabs, and let's also add the iron trap door and like all this other stuff. So all these materials that are able to be mainly dig up via just the pickaxe, I can revamp, recode, and redo, and make it possible for it to be unbreakable with the bare hands. So yeah, there's that. There we go. I did that. So I can add more blocks over the course of time. But for now, those are just gonna be the basic building blocks to have that be the case, be available for that. So I'll probably adapt upon that over time, making it like all bricks, like including like black stone bricks, deep stone or deep slate or whatever it's gonna be. I'll figure it all out. And yeah, I think that little cool thing that I just added in is it. So there we go. All right, I'm back. So I spent the past like probably hour or two, hour and a half, 30 minutes, an hour, however long it took. I sat down and I mainly selected every single block in the game. I don't have like every single block selected, like the main crafting table ones I didn't select yet because wasn't entirely sure about those. Blocks need to be harvested with like your pickaxe or tool or axe or anything. But I've done all not axes, but I've done pickaxes, pickaxe based blocks. That's what I'm trying to say. I got all pickaxe based blocks now with mining fatigue. So if I punch this, I get mining fatigue. If I punch this, mining fatigue. If I can punch this, mining fatigue. If we go into creative mode and we go over to just whatever stone blocks that exist in the game. So all these different, including stairs, including slabs, including pressure plates. Not the button though. I didn't do the buttons. I left alone. Cobblestone slabs, mossy stone. We did granite. We did diorite, andesite, cobblestone polish, deep slate, um, tough. We didn't do resin, but we did bricks. We did. We already said tough. I didn't do mud. I think I didn't do sandstone and chisel sandstone because I feel like you can break those with your bare hands as is, including as mud. I believe I left that one alone. But I got a whole bunch of different blockstone materials. See, even if I try to punch it in creative mode, they don't want to get destroyed. Oh, well, that's interesting. I might have to change the procedure to detect when you're not in creative mode to be able to break the block. But yeah, so if we get a whole bunch of these blocks all around, so let me just put like nice places to put them. So there, 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 there. Get rid of all this. grab a whole bunch of these, and then have this here, that there, that there, that there, that there. Put this here, put that there, put this there. Plop that down here, and that's pretty much good. So even in creative mode, because my God, I didn't realize it prevented the block from being broken in creative mode. So you need to get like a tool, which actually I can test that out. If I grab like the admin pickaxe and I try to, well, let me see if the admin axe breaks it. See, it doesn't break it because it's not the right tool. But if it's the pickaxe, it breaks it. And if I'm in creative mode, let's see if it breaks it. Yep, so you need to get the admin tools, or maybe even just regular tools. Let me check here by breaking one of the blocks. Which one should I break? Probably this one. Yep. Okay. So I could probably change the procedure to make it so that you don't need a tool of to detect whether or not you're in creative mode. That's an easy fix I could potentially do. But right now you just need the tool required to be held in your hand to be able to break this block. Just regardless in its entirety, which is fine. But in any case, let's see here. Let's go over to survival mode, and if we try to break these blocks, you'll notice I get mining fatigue. So yeah, just punching all the blocks here. Pretty much almost every single stone-based block I have now coded the ability for it to no longer be able to be breakable by your bare hands. So now what that means is that any block in the game that you need to gather resources from, or like gathering these like different colorful visual different types of blocks that you want to obtain, you're always going to need a pickaxe on hand, because now I added the slight gamified game mechanic realism of you not being able to punch and break stone with your bare fist, which you're just not able to do in real life. You need to have tools and whatever to be able to do that. So yeah, there you go. There's that. So now I can sit down, and people need to be have pickaxes on hand to and like whenever Zanycraft is ready to get played, if a player gets thrown into like a cell made of whatever like customizable material it can be now, the of stone or iron or of like a whatever tough material, then yeah, they're gonna be stuck inside of a cell, inside of a container, inside of a building. Um, so they got to make sure they always have pickaxes on hand to make sure that they don't get like accidentally stuck if they place themselves in a in a box and they break like a pickaxe and they got themselves stuck and locked away in the container. That would be bad. And that can happen because if you manage to get like cement and bricks, and you like put brick walls all around yourself in real life, and you don't got a pickaxe to break out, you just trapped yourself in a container. And then also if you dig a hole, in the ground out of like the stone back there in that cave system or wherever, if you dig yourself into too deep of a hole and you don't have a way to like climb your way out, and it's too steep, then that is a problematic problem. That's an issue. You're in trouble. Also, another cool mod that I found that could be a nice mod to add on to everything, if it's available for the latest version of Minecraft, there's this mod called Parkour, or there's just parkour mods in general. If I were to like potentially get other modifications to make a mod pack, right now Zanycraft is something I want to make by itself. But if there's other modifications out there that I really love, like Mechanisms, are a really good mod, and Parkour and Ars Nova, like the whole magic system, uh, then yeah, those are, and like also the crate mod, that's like a really crazy good amazing thing about itself too. Any of those mods would be like nice to throw into a mod pack with Zanycraft. And I could actually sit down and I know some basic code manipulation in mcreator, not too much though, just for basic crafting recipes. If I can get the data tag name of the item, I can copy that data tag name and paste it into a moddable code file for the crafting recipe of a modded item, so I can get like modded like zinc from create, or modded like components from Mechanism or whatever other resource from whatever other mod, applied in like a crafting table, and then I'm able to implement the a new custom recipe with anything that I custom make in my modification mixed with another modification. So I could actually make cross compatibility mods, cross compatibility modifications with other mods with Zanycraft. So, but yeah, this big thing right here now that I just did, I wanted to show off because I was able to do this. Pretty much the majority of all stone blocks have been transformed to be capable of preventing players from being able to break them, unless if you have a pickaxe in your hand. So that means you can make any containers that you want, and potentially entrap people. In a multiplayer like civilization event where, or like when a new server pops up and there's like seasons with like a few dozen people, or like maybe like half of 100 people, or like with civilization events with like 100 players, 150 players, 200 players, 250, 300, 500, 1,000, whatever the number is going to be. If I ever get to a point where I can get like a whole bunch of people online to download Zanycraft and hop into a micro server, and then we do like a multi-long event of some kind over the course of multiple days, um, of the server being online, and then if I get like a custom world map with maybe potential custom structures and custom ruins that I can like built in like a custom map, or just leave it like a base bare island. It could be like a island of just like all flourishment, and it could be like one big continent, or it could be like recreating all of Toriel and in like D&D, and like it's like the Toriel world map recreated into Minecraft, and then I could sit down and make a whole bunch of like magic spell mods with Zanycraft, and maybe we can like recreate and resimulate like our own TTRPG like gameplay system, and maybe I can sit down and recreate like a whole bunch of creatures that are able to be freely copied and recreated from the monster manual that aren't like copyrighted, because there's like a small handful of like a dozen or so from the monster manual, but the rest are like from folklore and from like typical like open source sources of like, you know, because yeah, like unicorns are open source and all this other stuff. But then there's like stuff like Yankees, or there's other things like Displacer Beasts and Illithids. Like I think those few are very specific Wizard of the Coast IP creatures. But then there's other creatures like Will-O-Wisp. That's like from folklore, and there's like gnomes and Goliaths and giants and all this other like and dragons. Like those are like open to like open source, because those are from like classic fantasy fiction lore, mythology, all that stuff. So yeah. And if there also is a way around it, like if I make my own variation with like distinct like details, like oh it's like similar, but it's different because it has like these distinct details, and it's like a variation of like other creatures. So like I could also do that as well, make a distinct variation of like my own, to be able to get around any copyright issues if I were to recreate some of those copyrighted creatures, which I'll probably just leave alone, or like definitely look into heavily making heavily modified variations of those entities and creatures for the game if I were to sit down and make custom model entities and for the game, which would be cool if I need to sit down and make unicorns. I need to have a way for unicorns to rarely naturally spawn, and maybe get like a specific rare biome that can naturally generate where a unicorn can be found, or maybe even get like a custom made dimension like in the light dimension, or I make like a custom like multi-realm dimension based around like other mythology, to where they can be found in like maybe in like the light dimension. I can maybe have them like spawn there and make it like some sort of mythical like air, like not air, but like a mythical kind of like like good mythical angels and creatures and stuff with the light dimension. So I could do that, and then I could do like demons and spirits and like whatever with the dark dimension. Then like more fire, like hellborn stuff with the fire dimension, and then like seawater creatures and underwater like coral and tridents and sea serpents, and then a bunch of like creatures, custom entities that could be like moles and earth elementals, and also air elementals and fire elementals and water elementals, like all the elementals for those. And then there's like arcane magic stuff, so I could do like very like whimsical, strange, weird alien-like arcane mixed like magic with the arcane stuff, and then there's soul, which is like a major soul dimension for like a place for your afterlife and rebirth system to take place and flow through. And then there's the void, which is like a place where it's like, oh, you don't have any more lives or multiple soul lives left to like respawn. And then there's just like an empty like void husk of a place that you'll be like forever like stuck and trapped into potentially. And I want to look into like getting like potential systems and methods and ways for to bounce around between these outer realms and go between them, and then maybe I can add like more miscellaneous realms on the outside of them that could be like made up and made and could be fun and interesting to implement. So that could be really cool. So yeah, that's a lot of cool ideas and a lot of rambling right there for stuff like that. But definitely, I want to add in like phase spiders, because that's a component needed to make a lichdom potion, and I need to add in unicorns and get their like unicorn blood, which is also needed for a lich potion. I have that stuff written down in like a D&D Discord server that I have of mine, where I've sat down and developed like a whole bunch of like D&D stuff. It's mainly for like an arcane academy D&D thing where I got like dozens and dozens and dozens of like wizards, and I was also developing on like other classes, and it was like for like a D&D campaign. And if I could, I'll probably sit down and get more of a homebrew system and probably get my own homebrew like magic like systems as well. But it's heavily based off of D&D currently right now, for what it is. But yeah, it's just I want to sit down and create like my own little RPG like kind of like stuff, and maybe I can implement all the game mechanics and system through Zanycraft, and then maybe I can sit down one day and then I can make the Magical Academy. I have like various ideas and for like potential names, and then I can maybe do a series where we can like go through the development and the skill trees and the technology of magic in the game, and then we can level up like the magic skills through Zanycraft and unlock and try to get through all the magic substances, and maybe it could be like an open server, and then maybe I could like sit down and I could be like a wizard teacher. It's like, greetings, it is I, Zanin, and I'm here to teach wizardry. Yes. And then I can like get like a whole bunch of like random people online, or maybe I could just do like a regular showcase where I just do by myself. And I don't know, I'm like spitballing more ideas here now of like fun ideas to potentially do. Um, but yeah, I definitely. There's also like an idea for like a video game that I also want to do, for getting like a Wizard Academy system. I thought about making like an indie game that I could potentially do with something like that. I don't know. It's an idea of something to do. But yeah, there might be a little bug here where you can't break the blocks if you're in creative mode. So if I might leave it to where you need a pickaxe to break the block, I might just leave it to be like that, or I might modify it and change it to where the procedure will detect that you have to be in survival mode or to ignore it if you're in creative mode. I'll figure out whichever one of the systems to code in and figure out and do. But in any case, besides that, I think that is everything. Um, yeah, the only other stuff that I didn't really do was like crafting tables and crafting blocks, like anvils and crafting like the map crafting table and the stone cutter and like various other stuff. I might implement those blocks later to make them unbreakable. You need a pickaxe to pick them up and break them. I probably will at some point, but I got the majority of all the stone blocks, which is what matters. But yeah, in any case, I think that's pretty much everything here for this pretty small but pretty major update to the game Zanycraft. So yeah, I guess I will leave it there, and I think that'll be it. So there we go. All right, I have another thing that I just modded to the game. It's really small and simple. We are going to need to collect 4 rocks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then if we go, we can just do it in our crafting table in our inventory. And if we do 4 rocks and do 1, 2, 3, 4, I now added the ability to craft cobblestone with the use of 4 rocks. So yeah, there we go. Also, I should make that reversible actually, which I didn't code that in. Hold on, give me a minute to do an edit transition here, and I'll make the crafting recipe undoable. So one moment, please. All right, I'm back. I just implemented the new system, so let's go ahead and grab a pickaxe. Dig up a piece of cobblestone, which we can also get from a cobblestone generator, so we can get unlimited amount of this resource now. We now have the cobblestone crafted in our inventory, and it gives us 4 rocks. So now we can go craft a piece of cobblestone, or we can craft 4 rocks from a piece of cobblestone. And yeah, we got that done. And we can take the rocks, and if we want to, plant them on the ground. So now, if you want to have rocks for decorating the floor of where you are in the world, just make a cobblestone generator that exists in Minecraft, and just dig up cobblestone, and then transform that cobblestone down into just a whole bunch of rocks. So yeah, there we go. That's pretty much it for that little modification, change and update I did to Zanycraft. So there's that. Yeah. All right. Another thing, I just dug up one of the stones that I plopped on the ground over there. I forgot about this small feature that I added. If you take a rock and you put it into your crafting grid, it will give you 2 pieces of flint. So there's a method of transforming cobblestone into rocks down into flint, so you can make a whole bunch of arrows. Also, I was thinking about potentially maybe adding in a whole bunch of different types of flint tools, or a basic flint tool, or changing the rock tool down into a flint tool. Maybe it could be acting like some sort of early game means of like an axe or a pickaxe or something along the lines of that. I could sit down and revamp and rework the early game tool system, because I remember showing off the rock tool a long time ago, and that's all there was, and it kind of acts as only an axe. There's not really an early game pickaxe for that, and I'm trying to sit down and figure out what else I could potentially do for like beginning early on early game primitive tools and items and stuff like that. So but I think just just having whatever tools as right now could potentially work for getting around the basic supplies and need for things. So I think all should be potentially good then with that. So but yeah, so that's just what I wanted to show off, was the craftable flint from the rocks, because that was also a thing I implemented. Being able to get 2 pieces from it. And it's raining. Great. Dash weather. Clear. Dash time. Set. Day. Alright, well, based off of everything I've recorded so far, I think I have about like an hour's worth of footage for part 2 for the devlog video, so I'll probably wrap up the video here. I might do an additional thing to show off or 2 or so, maybe, potentially, but this could be a good ending point for devlog part 2. And then I can start working on part 3. And yeah. So yeah, and I think this is gonna be the end for devlog part 2. And next part, I want to sit down and spend some time developing upon adding the custom level counter, the custom health bar counter, the mana bar counter, the stamina bar counter, and getting the custom hunger and thirst bar system implemented into the game, and try to figure everything else out. So I'll figure it all out. So yeah, that's the next major stuff for me to sit down and figure out how to code for the game. Which is gonna take a little bit of time, I feel. So it might be a little while for the next video, maybe like a week's worth or more, for the next devlog update, because I did the first part a few days ago. So might be a while for devlog, Zanycraft devlog part 3 to come out, which was fine. More time spent to update and upgrade the mod and add more features, the better. So yeah, I think that's everything. All right, here we go.